Here we go. This is the only time I'm going to talk about this. I didn't want to have to bring it up with Sparkles, but we played the clip about pooping in the bed. We had to talk about that because everybody had to talk about that. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard and their $50 million defamation suit explained by Vox. Also, Vox workers are getting ready to walk out. As long as we're still talking about unions. On Wednesday, June 1st, Johnny Depp won his defamation trial against Amber Heard, and Amber Heard lost most of her countersuit. So just to be clear, Depp won on 2 of the 3 counts. I believe it was 3 counts. Once again, I'm not paying attention to this. Heard won on 1 of her 2 counts in the countersuit. A stunning finish to the celebrity trial that has riveted the nation. Not me. Depp was awarded $17 million in damages, which the judge capped to $10.35 million. The jury awarded Heard $2 million, with the finding that former Depp attorney Adam Waldman had defamed her. So, the jury found that Amber Heard defamed Johnny Depp by calling him a wife beater, but not actually saying it by name. But then said that Depp's attorney defamed Heard. This is not a both of them are at fault thing, and I'm sickened by the amount of people that are, I'm Team Johnny Depp, because this has been a PR stunt. This has been a PR stunt to rehabilitate Johnny Depp. And I'm going to show you something that's going to sicken you. I should have had this handy already. And organizations like the Daily Wire and other offshoot MRA organizations spent thousands of dollars promoting anti-Amber Heard propaganda. The conservative media outlet ran Facebook and Instagram ads for stories backing Johnny Depp. So the media has been 100% on Depp's side. And remember, this motherfucker is almost like 20 years older than her. And he's one of the most famous actors in the world. So there is a power dynamic at play that is not being addressed. Even if they were mutually abusive, which I do not hold that position, even if they were mutually abusive, he is still mostly at fault. Because he had the power dynamic. Fairfax County, Virginia trial of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard has become a media sensation. Vanity Fair reported that as Court TV broadcast the trial, it doubled its daytime ratings, and we're going to get into that bullshit. Hashtags associated with the trial have repeatedly trended across Twitter as viewers watch and discuss the celebrity case of the year. Messiness, its scandal, the glamorous movie star at its heart, and the question of what to believe and how much. This was a murky, perplexing trial. While it was technically a defamation trial over a newspaper article with Depp suing Heard, at its center was one big conflict. Amber Heard said Johnny Depp abused her. Depp said Heard abused him. So what's the truth? Strikingly, for our post-Me Too world, both the jury and the loudest voices on the internet overwhelmingly sided with Depp. That's despite the fact that Depp already lost one version of this case in the UK. And while there's compelling evidence that violence came from both people in this marriage, it's far from clear that Heard was the primary aggressor. What Depp does have is the stronger public profile. Though it's been over a decade since he put out a true critical hit, he's delivered enough acclaimed work over the course of his long career to earn himself a fair amount of goodwill. A statement Heard attributed Depp's win squarely to that profile. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband. I'm even more disappointed with what this verdict means for other women. I'm upset about what the public perception means for other women and the chilling effect it's going to have for people. Because, as I've said a million times over, the reason why MRA men's rights activists are promoting this bullshit is because they're like, see, men are victims too, see, believe us, when, let me tell you, these statistics are overwhelming. Over 90%. Over 90% of the time, the man is the perpetrator of violence and abuse. Even in cases where men were the victim, the overwhelming majority of perpetrators were men. So it's men abusing other men. That's why you should believe women when they come forward. Because the societal stigma is against them to come forward. Exactly, Scott Comment. They love playing victim. Men can be victims too, but as I said, the statistics bore it out. Even when men are the victims, men are usually the perpetrators. Period. End of story. The star of hits like Edward Scissorhands, Donnie Brasco, and many Pirates of the Caribbean sequels, Depp has been nominated for 3 Oscars and been named People's Sexiest Man Alive twice. I don't see it. And I had somebody on Grindr telling me that I was still hot despite the fact that the Johnny Depp look was out. And I'm like, huh? Depp's film career declined over the course of the 2010s. His personal and financial troubles began. In 2017, Depp sued both his longtime business managers and his entertainment lawyer, claiming they had mismanaged his finances. Infamous Rolling Stone profile from this period paints Depp as a fading and diluted icon, cut off from reality by his money, his fame, and copious amounts of drugs. He is, Rolling Stone declared brutally, a punchline, bankrupt, isolated, and one more mistake away from being blackballed from his industry. Heard, on the other hand, was just beginning to approach the point of becoming a household name. When she first met Depp on the set of The Rum Diary in 2009. At the time, both were in relationships with other people. Over 20 years younger than Depp. Over 20 years. Shit, I thought it was less than 20 years. She had her first major job as a supporting character in the 2008 Judd Apatow stoner comedy Pineapple Express. When The Rum Diary came out in 2011, it was a sign that she was entering a new phase of her career, playing the love interest of A-listers. From there, Heard went on to play major roles in 2015's Magic Mike XXL and The Adderall Diaries. And in 2017, she was cast in her biggest role to date as Mara, the Queen in DC Comics' Aquaman franchise. All this to say that when these two figures met and throughout their marriage, Johnny Depp was a known quantity to the American public. Amber Heard was very much not. Moreover, their relationship coincided with Depp's long and very public downward spiral. I can't even think of a Johnny Depp movie I like. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, maybe? But that's not because of Johnny Depp. And, seriously, Johnny Depp was not the best depiction of Hunter S. Thompson. Johnny Depp sued Amber Heard for defamation because of an op-ed she published in the Washington Post in 2018. In the op-ed headline, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. This has to change. Heard never mentions Depp, but she refers to herself as a public figure representing domestic abuse. Depp and his lawyers have argued, and the judge has agreed, that Heard is clearly implying that Depp abused her over the course of their year-long marriage. Heard first publicly accused Depp of domestic violence in May of 2016 when, days after filing for divorce, she requested and received a temporary restraining order on the grounds of domestic violence. Depp's lawyers promptly issued a statement saying that Heard was lying, attempting to secure a premature financial resolution by alleging abuse. Fuck Edward Scissorhands. That wasn't a good movie. Blow is indeed good. I like Blow. So let's hear from one of those toxic. You were talking about the movie. My bad. I was thinking of the substance, not the movie. I've not seen Blow, I don't think. This is The Quartering. Or I guess his name is actually Jeremy, isn't it? Jeremy from The Quartering reacting to the verdict. If you don't know who The Quartering is, he is a very toxic right-wing idiot.
Heard, we the jury award compensatory damages in the amount of $10 million.
Wait, why are they celebrating? I don't understand. Why would that be something to celebrate? These motherfuckers have no bearing on your life whatsoever. Why are you celebrating this bullshit show trial?
The reading of the verdict, and it was a resounding victory for Mr. Johnny. An absolute defeat for a...
No, he is fundamentally representing or misrepresenting what actually happened. As we said, it was a split decision by the jury. So it was not an absolute victory for Johnny Depp.
A H and a shot across the bow for liars everywhere. This was a net...
You just lied!
$1 million judgment in Johnny's favor. Absolute BTFO. They award $15 million in damages for Johnny, although there are statutory limits that lower that down slightly. But here you have...
This motherfucker doesn't have a clue what he's talking about.
In the defamation lawsuit, awards $15 million in damages. Jurors just found AH liable in defamation trial brought by Johnny Depp, awarding him $15 million. Jurors reached the verdict Wednesday after 6 weeks of...
He is not referring to her by her name. He's calling her AH. What kind of weird, fucked up bullshit is that? He's calling Johnny Depp Johnny as if he knows the motherfucker. He doesn't even dare to say the name of Amber Heard.
Of trial testimony in less than 3 days of deliberation. The jurors initially didn't fill out the damages form, which was brutal to watch. Judge Penny, who's overseeing the case, sent them back into the deliberation room to properly fill out the form. What they had forgotten was the actual amount. Once they forgot to, like...
I think there are some kind of allegations against Jeremy.
It was pretty clear that Johnny had won. He is completely vindicated in the eyes of the law.
No, he's not. He's not.
Go after, like, the ACLU and the Washington Post. This will bankrupt AH for sure. I'm going to give the forms back to you, Judge. She said the damages must be at least $1 up to whatever you feel they should be. She told the attorneys representing them that they shouldn't go too far.
First of all, I don't want celebrities suing news outlets because they don't like stories. That's bullshit. I thought you were a free speech advocate. But no. Because the Washington Post reports the news. You gotta send a rich asshole after them. Jeremy from The Quartering, he's just a right-wing blowhard. He's somewhat famous. I think he's been banned from YouTube. I think you actually have to go to BitChute or Rumble to actually see him. What really trips me out is I have a friend I went to college with, and Jeremy looks and sounds just like my friend from college. My friend from college is cool, though.
Yes, she was, of course. Now, the original lawsuit was for $50 million. Getting $15 million and having her case utterly dismissed. Now, there was a $2 million award.
Tones, welcome.
Adam Waldman, him posting some defamatory statements I mean, this is basically the breakdown.
Yeah, fuck Jeremy.
So the question was, were the statements defamatory? Yes. Were they done with actual malice, meaning like intending to damage him? Yes. So JD won on count 1. He won on count 2.
So weird that her op-ed where she doesn't even name
$1 million.
Johnny Depp
There is a cap there.
was somehow defamatory to Depp.
In it for.
I'm worried about the implications for free fucking speech.
Disparaging statements. Now, how will this be covered in the weeks to come? Certainly, she will appeal.
Hey, Jeremy, you've got the news right there in front of you where it says that they sided with Heard on the counterclaim.
And ultimately, you see, jury members found that JD should be awarded $15 million, while AH should get $2 million. There are statutory limits of like $350,000 on one of them, I think. So.
Well, he did it to Johnny Depp that time. He called him by initials. So
Johnny, after it's all said
maybe
and
that's
done.
just something Jeremy does and wasn't.
Wow. I mean, what a wild
misogynistic thing.
This has been. It's actually nuts. I thought it was doubly humiliating that she sat there in court and took that L. But this is a landmark case. I was watching Nick and the others and basically saying that how
is this a landmark case?
There's no single sewer of another sewer that's ever gotten this much. Even after the final amounts, which I think is again a net of $8 million. I'm assuming that Johnny spent about $5 million on these lawsuits, but that's not important. Now
he probably spent more than that, Jeremy.
Who is he going to be able to take on to next? Because now that it's been overturned, will he return? Will he be offered a role in Pirates of the Caribbean? I suspect he will not. Will he?
He said he doesn't want to do it, as far as I know.
Acting upon libelous statements. Will his crusade go further, or will he just feel satisfied now? I mean, hey, for any one of us, $8 million is enough to never work again and live extraordinarily comfortably. But it's interesting to me, the reaction, of course, on this, on Twitter, overwhelmingly, in Johnny's favor. You see a lot of, says Richard Whitten says, AH owes a little over $8 million to Johnny, as he gets $10 million plus $350,000 in punitive damages. The $5 million verdict is limited in Virginia, but she gets a $2 million verdict. So it's whatever, 8.6.
The reason he is so adamant about siding with Johnny Depp, Magic the Gathering cosplayer quits over harassment, forcing Wizards to speak up. Wizards of the Coast, the company behind popular trading card game Magic the Gathering, is speaking up about harassment and cyberbullying after a popular cosplayer publicly left the community following months of alleged abuse from a YouTube user and his subscribers. So, they spoke about the harassment she suffered after Jeremy Hambly, a controversial YouTuber who is seen as a toxic member of the community and by other YouTubers and personalities, posted a degrading video about her and other cosplayers.
$5 million. Now, of course, she's been saying it's a whole ordeal and, it's just been so bad. Well,
I feel sorry for Amber Heard.
A jury of your peers did not agree with you. There were a lot of key moments in here.
But they did. They sided with her in the counter. So you have yet to say that, even though you had an article that said that up on the screen.
After the Washington Post.
And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this, is because all of the stories that you see, jury rules in favor of Johnny Depp. That's not exactly true.
Disney, if that's possible, Warner, or whoever was behind Grindelwald or whatever, if it's possible, there's a lot of people here that fired him based on libelous statements. I don't know about you. I'm certainly happy.
Wait a minute. The dude is 100% a toxic person. If you actually watched the trial, which I did not, but I'm familiar with some of the shit that came out, the dude is admitted to drug use and being a shit person. So why would Disney want him associated with their brand?
Conclusion, and it's I don't know what to think. Let me tell you what to think, Jeremy. This is a piece that I felt needed to be read on air. In Vanity Fair yesterday, Monica Lewinsky's verdict on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. We are all guilty. We are all guilty. Thank you, Monica. Unless you're a troglodyte, you've been exposed to something about the Depp versus Heard trial in the past few weeks. Like many, I have averted my eyes with guilty fascination, even as I've kept track of the defamation conflagration. As we all do nowadays, we watch or we read or we media gaze about these private turned public spectacles in bits and bytes, fearing that the sheer rancor and vulgarity might leave a kind of virtual stench, or in my case, worrying that prolonged viewing might be triggering. Don't know what I'm talking about? Google 1998. Or watch American Crime Story impeachment. Today, most of us are consuming gossip, news, and entertainment news totally differently than we did in the days of yore. From the first televised trial of the Nazis' final solution architect Adolf Eichmann in 1961 to the dawn of court TV in the 1990s. Google the people of the state of California versus Orenthal James Simpson. My God, I remember my teacher in 6th grade turning that shit on the TV in the classroom, and her fucking jaw fell to the floor when he was found not guilty. We have sampled mediated accounts of the trial on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook through memes, video clips, and TikTok nuggets. Our consumption, therefore, has tended to be biased, curated, and cursory. What's more, we have become so attuned to this narrow, cynical cycle of social media encounters that we consider the trial not tragic or pathetic, but as a pure car wreck. Accessible, tawdry, and immediately gratifying. We dispense with critical thinking and substitute the cheap thrill. Such scattershot consumption hasn't allowed for real comprehension. Instead, we experience only apprehension, knee-jerk outrage, and titillation. It's like going to the opera and reading a couple of translated subtitles, but not understanding Italian. And despite whatever else this is, it is a soap opera. In this perfunctory, voyeuristic way, I grazed through the testimonies, through cross-examination, through summation, observing not the trial but distorted shadows of the trial as reflected through the lenses of friends and pundits and weirdos. And the queasier I felt about this behavior, even if millions of others were doing the same, the more I came to realize that distortion, not objectivity, has evolved into an acceptable She's done a fantastic job of throwing the thesaurus at me in this fucking piece, but I have no fucking clue what she just said. Lingua franca? Lingua franca. A language that is adopted as a common language between speakers whose native languages are different.
Lingua franca.
Lingua franca. Monica, you are a badass. There is another complicating factor at play because the trial has also been available live on our screens. We think subconsciously that we have a right to look and watch, to judge, to comment. We end up with this confusing cultural crossover of watching two people whom we are used to seeing as actors acting on a screen in a setting, a courtroom, where we would normally expect them to be assuming their characters' roles. The blurring of public figures and private lives can do a number on us as bystanders as an audience. We end up being torn between our parasocial relationships with celebrities. We identify with them. We pretend that, gee, we actually know them. Kind of like the Quartering did with Johnny Depp. And our need to see, because you could tell fucking Jeremy was a huge Pirates of the Caribbean fan. Our need to see public personalities taken down a notch or two and taken down publicly so as to make our wounded selves feel better in comparison. Aldous Huxley put in A Brave New World, we are hooked on a soma, a drug that we think is making us feel better but is actually numbing us. And courtroom porn does just the trick. Thank you, Monica.